We have joining us to talk more on the issue of domestic violence, the founder, Domestic Violence Assistance Initiative, DVALI, Joyce Okungbowa. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, I hope I got your name correctly.
Joyce Okungbowa, yes, you did.
Now, talk to us about your organization's effort towards addressing this issue of domestic violence.
Okay, so the Domestic Violence Initiative initiative, which is DVALI, we launched last September, and it was in line to combat what you've discussed here, so domestic violence. So we're a phone line, and it's a 24-hour phone line manned by victims, survivors, people that have survived domestic violence, and people who are passionate about the cause. And it's for you to call in if you're experiencing any type of violence. And we're there to listen and not judge, because we live in a society where people tend to judge. Yeah. We understand that it takes a victim 7 times attempts to leave a domestic violence situation. So we're there to listen and encourage.
Okay, so we always talk about domestic violence in women, and the intro we just read out talked about men as well, but it's not reported. But do you get cases of domestic violence in men?
Okay, so when we launched last year, the feedback was why didn't we invite men? So this year we're actually inviting men. And we do. There's a lot of stigma and there's a lot of shame around domestic violence, you have to remember. And it's even more so for a man who has ego to deal with.
All men have egos.
Yes. So we do find that the men are not very forthcoming, but we find that more women are prone to talk to one another about domestic violence.
Okay, so let's look at the cases that you have talked, the women that you have spoken with since September. That's about a year now. How has it been listening to these women talk about the issues, the challenges they face? Some have tried to leave, like you rightly said, but couldn't. And because we see marriage as a prized possession in Nigeria. So how has it been speaking to these people?
Okay, so the common thing is women want to leave. But like you said, culture, in-laws, you have a lot of pressure from families saying you have to stay, pray about it. You haven't prayed hard enough. Go to church, go for deliverance. But what we find is a lot of women do want to leave. They're scared, which is very common in a victim who is experiencing domestic violence. They have young children. Where do they go? A lot of them don't have their own financial, income. How do they survive? And so what we find is a lot of people do want to leave. They don't know what steps to take. They're scared that, again, if the husband...
So beyond speaking with them, what are the supports?
Okay, so this is why we're doing our event on Sunday. We're actually trying to advocate for a refuge, because we don't have a refuge. And actually in Lagos State, there are not very many refuges. So that's our next step in DVALI. We're trying to get a refuge whereby we can actually say, if you're ready to leave, we can accommodate you temporarily. We can put you up with your children. We can help you get back on your feet. And there is actually life after domestic violence.
All right, Joyce.